Hello, I am Jim Campanini, the host of the Grapefully Yours Wine Podcast. Today we're broadcasting from the beautiful studios of InsideLowell.com, right downtown on Merrimack Street in Lowell. We have a special guest here today, a proud Lowellian like me, Craig Gandolf. Craig, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for inviting me, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's Craig is one of my mentors. He's also one of my neighbors. He knows wine. He's the presently the national sales director for Cynthia Hurley French Wines, an importer in Massachusetts. And Craig, since he's taken the job, is about 5 years now.
It'll be 5 years.
How
this
time
May.
flies by. I mean, his background. He was an expert in Spanish wines. Worked for almost 2 decades in Spain, right?
Correct.
Now I'm pronouncing Jorge
Ordonez.
Jorge Ordonez Selections. Is you might see that in a when you go to the liquor store. I know New Hampshire wine outlets have a lot of his wines. Yes. And other things, but Craig was very, very involved. Why don't you tell us a little about that, how your background started before we get into your new endeavor?
Actually, my background in wine started in the restaurant side of the business. Lydia Shire opened up Biba Restaurant in 1989 in Boston, and I had worked with Lydia previously, about 10 years before that. So when she opened up the restaurant, I said, I'd like to work with you and be part of the project. And she said, great, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to write the wine list. She said, oh, thank God nobody else wants to do that. It was back in the
My
80s.
wife always wants to write the wine list.
It was a dirty job, and now it's become a very popular job. But back then it was sort of the job that nobody else wanted to do. So I wrote the wine list. I had no idea what the menu was going to be like. Yeah. And so 6 weeks after I started, we got together before the restaurant opened. She gave me the menu. I gave her the wine list, and they matched.
Wow.
They matched. We had both decided to do something on a seasonal basis. So she had 4 menus a year, and I had 4 wine lists per year.
Fantastic. So, but how did you get to Spain? How did
I get to Spain? Well, after Biba, I was at Biba for about 10 years, and we had opened up Pignoli Restaurant in addition to that one.
Wow.
And along came Jorge Ordonez, who I had been dealing with at that point for about 5 or 6 years. And we had become friends. He had come into the restaurant to taste me on his wines. And he said, well, come work for me. And I says, well, all right. I was about ready to leave the restaurant business. You get burned out really quickly in the restaurant business. So I went with him, and he was a one-man operation. And within 5 years, we became the top Spanish importer in the United States.
Fantastic.
So,
wow. Now, did you have to go back and forth? Did you travel back and forth?
I was traveling back and forth to Spain about 5 or 6 times a year.
Wow.
And staying sometimes, working there for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Fantastic. And so that's where you basically picked up all your knowledge of Spanish wines and everything. I mean,
it was very intense, because what we actually had to do was work from the bottom up. We actually were in the vineyards. We were selecting vineyards. We were working with different wineries. And then we would go from winery to winery and do the blending for the cuvées that we wanted to sell in the United States. And that's a very intensive process, because you have to taste, in many instances, every single tank, every single barrel, and then you decide what the blend is going to be.
One thing I have to say is that Craig has an incredible palate. He leads a lot of tasting sessions for the anti-book club. The women have a book club, and the men meet while the women are meeting, and we taste wines, just talk, comradeship. But Craig always has a surprise for us. We taste it, and we learn a little about the wines. So now you do have a great palate. I've learned a lot from you in the tastings. But so Cynthia Hurley wines, the French wines. Did you always know about the French wines? Taste them? Was that part of your job to visit other wineries? And
back when going back to my restaurant experience, to write a decent wine list, you really need to know wines from all around the world. So I was quite familiar with French wines, but having been away from them for 2 decades, it was a quick learning process, a relearning process to catch up on. And many things had changed in the wine business, especially in France. I remember before I went to Cynthia Hurley, I'd gone on several other interviews with retailers and other wine companies. And one of the questions that somebody posed to me was, "What's your favorite grower champagne?" And I was totally stumped because 20 years before, when I was in the business, there was no such thing as grower champagnes. You had your major houses, you had Moet, you had Veuve Clicquot, you had Dom Pérignon. You didn't have individual growers. So I was completely stumped, and I was very embarrassed because I had no idea what she was talking about.
Well, it's amazing. Just getting back to Spain. Spain has some incredible wines, but value. I mean, you put them on a par with some of the the great wines from throughout the world, from France, Italy, and everything else. I mean, they've made great strides in the last 10, 15 years.
It's been tremendous to watch how the industry in Spain has grown. What people don't realize is Spain is the 3rd largest producer of wine in the world. It has more acreage under vineyards as more than any other country in the world. And people don't realize that because not 20 or 30 years ago, there was very little Spanish wine exported to the United States. That's one of the things that we had changed in the 20 years that I worked in Spain, was to increase the distribution here into the United States and to make wines that are well known in Europe and Spain, well known here in the United States, and we were very successful.
I think it's working. Okay, so Craig will give us a selection at towards the end of the show, a French wine. But right now we're here because, interestingly, there's been a big surge in popularity of canned wines. Now, 5 years ago, you said put wine in a can, and most producers and winemakers and people rebelled against it, even sommeliers. But it's become a big business because of the portability of the canned wines, the environment. The canned wines are easier to recycle than glass bottles. The expensive glass bottles going through the roof. Plus, the technological innovations in making the wine and putting into these special cans. You don't pick up any taste. It's just like beer when you drink beer out of a can. So you can take this to the beach, by a pool. You don't have to worry about breaking glass. But Craig, what about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
It was just about a little over a year ago. I was approached by a gentleman that I work with in Spain, Mark Tarita, and he said, "Oh, let's start a project of our own. We've always worked for somebody else, and we said we're getting to the age where we should be doing something for ourselves." So he says, "I want to do a can project," and I said, "Well, that's interesting. It's a growing category." He says, "Let's come up with a name." So I was doodling on my desk for about 2 days, and I went through a list of names. And I says, let's keep it as simple and as straightforward as possible. So I came up with Hands Off, and he said that's a fabulous name. Yeah. It refers to the idea that the wines are all low intervention. They're organic, they're vegan. So we do no herbicides, no pesticides in the vineyards with our producer partners. And it's a minimal intervention. And so hands off from everybody, and just give you pure wine in a can.
It's a great. It's a great idea, a great name, because people are becoming more and more health conscious, especially with their wines. And when I first saw it, I just loved the labeling in the can. So why don't you tell us a little about the design, which won a European award, didn't it?
Yes,
packaging.
We won a gold medal just this past September for innovative and ecologically inventive design. The third partner in our company is a woman called Anita Rivera, who I've actually have never met, yet we've made her a partner. She's a graphic designer in Spain, and I loved her work from other wine labels that I've bought from Mark. And I says, she's great. She's a genius. I said, let's bring her into the business and to make wine labels for us. I couldn't afford to pay her, so I said, I'll make you a partner and you can have your gratification later.
So tell us a little. You have 2 whites and 2 reds right now, right?
Well,
you have a rosé too, because I tasted the
Yes.
rosé, which I like, but I don't have any cans.
We have right now we have 3 different waves of wines coming into the United States. These 2 represent 2 of the 3. We also have a rosé in this lineup. These are organic wines from the Penedès region, right outside of Barcelona. We wanted to have an entry-level wine. These are more expensive. I have to say that these are more expensive than many of the cans you're going to see in the stores today, because these are real wines with appellation control, vintage dated, and as they once again emphasize, they're organic and vegan. The second wave, let me see, we have...
It's important to know about vintage when you mention vintage related. So there's the date on, this is a 2020 vintage.
Right.
So you'll know that this is fresh when you buy it.
Right.
So it's not like it's been a cuvee sitting around for a couple of years and assembled from different vintages.
On the bottom, we have expiration dates or best buy dates as well, too.
Okay.
One of the things we want to differentiate our product from other canned wines is that there's a lot of mass-produced canned wines. And these wines they're blended from year to year. They want consistency. They want a uniformity in their product. We're willing to go out on the limb, so to speak, or the vine, and say, we want to put our faith in the producers. So if they're having a bad vintage, we may not produce a wine from them in that vintage.
Interesting.
What we're doing is we're going all around the world sourcing producers. So right now we're based in Spain, Germany. We will have releases from France in the spring. And now we're in discussion with a South African winery.
Really? That's great.
So
how about the Asian market, which is
the Asian market is good for sales. We're not looking at them for production yet.
Okay, right. All right.
But for sales, China is stepped up tremendously, and their orders are coming in on a weekly basis.
And the other thing is, now this is, so there's 250 milliliters of wine in this can.
Yes, but don't confuse the speakers about that. So
okay.
These are a little deceptive.
Right.
These cans look small, but this can, if you put 3 of these cans together, you're going to get the equal to a full bottle of wine.
Yes.
So you have to look at it this way. This is either a generous single serve or a conservative 2 serves.
Yes, yes.
two glasses. One of the things that we're up against...
My point is, when I tasted this and had it with my wife, my wife drank the white, I drank the red.
Right.
It's got a little kick in it after you finish a can. There's a good alcohol content.
Yes,
in
well,
it.
These are just exactly the same wines that you would be getting in a bottle.
Yes, so
they're not chapitalized or sugared. They're not low alcohol. Although next year we will have a low alcohol product for the people who want something very easy drinking, spritzy wine. It's important to remember that these wines are the same wines that you. Well, I should get back. If you look at this one is an orange wine. This one is a Grenache, and I have to go back and explain to people what orange means. But I also sell these wines in bottles. So the same exact wine, we just do it in cans or in bottles. But if it's in the bottle, it has the producer's full name on it. But all of our wines give attribution to the producer. So we also mention the producer. So you know that these are not just a generic product.
Fantastic. So your plans to, you said you're already in the United States. Is it
very slow? Very slow.
Really? Yeah. It's going slow right now?
It's a very slow project. One of the drawbacks to these cans is that people see this as a seasonal product. And we had scheduled the first release to get here in June. But of course, with all the delays of the shipping and containers and transatlantic transport, they didn't get here until Labor Day. So we missed the whole first season. And everybody who had made commitments says, well, we'll take half of what we committed, because the season's over. What people what I want people to realize is that this is more than just take it to the beach wine,
Exactly.
or sit on
Yes.
the tennis court wines. These are perfect for the people who are at home, who are single, or two people or a couple at home. They don't want to open a whole bottle of wine. And then what do you
Exactly.
do with the bottle of wine after you've drunk half of it? You put it back in the refrigerator, you recork it, and then hope for the best. This, you open it, you finish it, and you recycle it.
Exactly. It's
And
very,
so
very convenient.
It's very convenient year-round for the beach or at home.
No, so I've told you this story before, but it was my daughter, who is now 38, who I guess was
Don't
over.
give away her age.
No, well, she's very fashionable, very trendy. She lives in North Carolina, and about 3 years ago, she said, "Dad, what do you like for a canned wine?" And I says, "What? Canned wine?" And maybe it was a little long ago because I wrote a column about it. And I said, "Canned wine?" And she says, "Dad, get with it." And she said, "Dad, I'm going to a pool party. I'm not bringing a bottle." She says, "I don't want to step on any glass. And I know some of the friends that I have, they're not too." So we all bring canned wine. She said, "It's very good." And I put it in my purse. She says, carries it in a purse, And I said, "Wow, that's interesting." And then I started researching and looking into it, and then I became a fan. And like you said, especially I met some people who were campers. They take this like overnight, camping trips, because you can keep it outside and it'll stay cool, at night and stuff, or other outdoor activities. I don't want them drinking it on the ski slopes, but you can do it if you wanted to, just hide it. So it's really interesting. So what do you want us to taste today? What would you like to taste?
I think, well, I brought up the subject of orange wine, and
Yes,
I want to
let's do
explain
that.
to people what orange wine is. See how easy it is? No corkscrew needed, no corks to deal with. And
Thank you.
we're pouring it into a glass today because we want to be proper. But you
Look
can
at that
drink this
color.
straight out of the can. Now, the idea behind orange wine is it's a white wine made in the process that you would do a red wine. So when you make a red wine, you crush the grapes and then you let the juice sit on the skins to develop the color. With white wine, generally you crush the grapes and then you draw off the juice and then you ferment it separately. This way, you take the juice that's been crushed, you let it sit on the skins of the white grapes, and it develops tannins, it develops a color, and that's
Got a
what
beautiful
orange wine is
color.
all
Yeah,
about.
look at
And
that.
we call it orange not because it's made from navel oranges, but because it's simple color. This has been a favorite with a lot of foodie and wine enthusiasts over the past 5 or 6 years. But the drawback to a lot of the wines that are made, that they tend to be cloudy. They tend to be a little bit too au natural. This is a very clean, straightforward production. People have been amazed at how good this is. I've been told that this is the perfect orange wine for beginners. So you don't get the funk, you don't get the cloudiness. It's perfectly still.
It's very aromatic, too.
Very aromatic, yes. And that's because of the time it spends on the skins.
Very nice. All right, let's have a little
That's it.
taste. Now, I cheated, of course. Craig has given me some of these wines to taste previously. I like I like this wine because it's very refreshing. It's got it's mouth-watering too.
It is.
And tasty. It's got very nice taste, which are really hard to describe. It's what kind of grape?
This is Grenache Blanca,
Wow,
which is normally people shy away from Grenache Blanca. It's made in the area just outside of Barcelona because it oxidizes quickly. But this is done with very low oxidation to it. It's a perfect food wine. I found one of the best matches to this at Thanksgiving because I was having shrimp cocktail and I says, I'm going to try orange wine. So you think of the spiciness of the horseradish and the sauce, and then the salinity of the shrimp. It was a perfect marriage.
Wow.
And then on my own, I've had this with a bag of potato chips, which is equally satisfying.
I could have used that last night, maybe when I was watching that Patriots game. But I detect a little peach in here. Is that peach or
You have peach,
nectarine
what I call sort of nectarine skin or peach skin. You get some of the tannins, but you also get that voluptuous fruit flavors too. But if you
it's like a nice layered.
Yeah.
But the texture is really, really smooth too.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
It's a complex wine. It's a complex wine that I think people should enjoy more of.
Okay. Tell us a little about the red. We got
the red. We have
you have a red blend, right?
We have a red blend. So this is a combination of Tempranillo and Grenache. It's also from Penedès, just outside of Spain. And then the complement to the orange wine is here. I'll take this out.
Yeah, that's 100%, right?
100% Grenache Tinto. So this is a dark-skinned red grape, very, very full-bodied.
Yes.
Higher in alcohol. So this can go up to 15% alcohol very easily, which is quite high for wine.
No wonder the wine buckler recommended that. So Mike Pigeon, I gave him a couple of samples, and he loved the red, 100%. Yeah. He loved it, and he's a big Rioja drinker, you know, and stuff. But he said it was definitely something he liked. So what would be how much would a 4-pack cost?
A 4-pack of the Grenache or the orange wines, I would suspect would be about $26. Now you're going to say that's a lot of money, but this 4-pack is more wine, is a liter. So that's 33% more than you would get in a bottle of wine. So if you're going to go out and spend anywhere from $20 to $25 for a bottle of wine, and you spend $26 and get 33% more wine, the packaging is very deceptive because it's much more efficient and smaller in size, but you get more volume.
Okay, so just if some of our listeners are interested in acquiring some of these wines, how do they do that?
My big battle right now is getting retailers to pick up these wines. They all think of it as, come talk to me in May, when it's the summertime and people are going to the beach. But I want to impress upon retailers to get the wines in stock now. So the best way, if you're interested in any of these wines, is to look up CynthiaHurley.com, www.CynthiaHurley.com. Get on our mailing list and contact our office, and we can arrange sales to you directly for any of these wines. They do come in cases of 24.
And this is why
this is a great thing. www.CynthiaHurley.com. Get on our mailing list, and we send out notices every week for wines specials that we're having.
That's www.CynthiaHurley.com. Okay? You get on the mailing list and tell them that Craig sent you.
Yes.
And they'll be happy to explore that. But you should, it's worth the try. Even if you pick up a 4-pack, share it with friends, see what you think about it and like it. But get ahead of the game. Okay, get it for the springtime, so you'll be the leader in the clubhouse when summer comes. But it's worth exploring and trying different things. And like you said, it's very easy and convenient to use and recycle.
And ecologically sound, because these are 79% more efficient for recycling and carbon footprint than glass bottles.
Very good. Okay, tell us something quickly about Cynthia Hurley, what they have coming up, anything?
Cynthia Hurley has a great selection of French wines, and you were going to ask me for some suggestions today.
Suggestions for either the holidays or...
One of the wines that people don't really know much about is Vouvray. Oh. And I would certainly recommend, we have a fabulous Vigneault Chevreau Vouvray. You can get it with a slight sparkle to it called Pétillant. Or you can get the straight Vigneault selection, and that's a wonderful. Okay.
Go on, keep talking.
Also, we have some Spanish selections, and one of the big new releases that just came out is a Rioja Crianza.
Remember that.
That's
Remember
it.
that.
Vouvray.
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 It's excellent.
It's the best white wine for the season coming up. Or,
And I like the sparkling, the effervescence,
yes,
which
the Petillon.
I've gotten from you a couple of bottles.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very good.
excellent producer.
Yes.
And then for red wines, we have a wonderful Martinez La Cuesta Crianza. Reserva. And it just got 96 points to Cantor, which is an English magazine. It's a wonderful, wonderful wine. And I would highly recommend that. Martinez La Cuesta Reserva Inia.
How much would that cost?
That would cost probably about $28, I think, retail.
Nice. Okay, and if they buy 6 bottles or more and mention your name, do they get a 10% discount?
Unfortunately not.
Well, that's very good. But you should go to the CynthiaHurley.com website and explore a little about the country. It has a company. It has a really interesting history. Husband and wife started the company.
More than 25 years
25 years ago. She unfortunately passed away several years ago. And Craig has been instrumental in reorganizing and setting out that new mission. And it seems to be very excelling. They're excelling.
It is. We're growing every year. So I have no complaints. And every wine that we carry, we've tasted and approved ourselves. So there's no, decisions that are made by producers or anything like that. We handpick every wine that we sell.
Good. So now we come to our quote of the week segment, okay, where I ask usually the wine butler, who said this, okay? It's about wine. And I'm going to ask Craig, our expert. All right, Craig, here's the quote of the week. I cook with wine. Sometimes I even add it to the food.
Oh.
Think famous comic of the 1920s and 30s. I cook with wine. Sometimes I even add it to the food.
Fanny Bryce.
Ooh, good. Teddy, do you have anything?
Julia Childs.
She's not that old. It wasn't that old.
W.C. Fields.
Oh, I didn't even know
interesting. So, he drank.
he knew that.
So, okay. So, one thing that I want to talk about, because we're coming up to close to Christmas, and people come up to Jim, what would be a good Christmas gift and stuff, and it's easy to give wine, and wine is a great gift, a bottle of wine. Hey, you get some of these canned wines, something different.
Right.
This would be great. Well, I just want to show people this bottle. This the Wine Enthusiast sells a 4 set of these for $79.95. Okay, this bottle my wife made for $2.50. This is a bottle of wine that we drank. Mm-hmm. She bought the lighting tube, okay, from Amazon for $2, and she picked up the little decorations at the dollar store for 50 cents. So look how beautiful that is, how it stays up and it lights up nice. You put this on the table whether you have a dinner or at night or something, set around. But you bring out your artistic creativity in it. And so it's something to think about. What you can do with your wine bottles. Of course, you want a clear bottle, but we have some at home, the green bottles that she's put in. So very simple to do. You buy these cork tops with the string of lights, from Amazon. They cost less than $2 a piece, so you can do that. One other gift I was showing to Craig, the Wine Lover's Bucket List. Now, it's a little pricey. It costs retails about $35, but if you get a coupon from Barnes & Noble, it's beautiful, all color photographs and little short summaries about all the little places, regions throughout the world. There are close to 1,000 different places on this bucket list where if you wanted to take a wine destination or a restaurant and stuff and go and visit, it describes it in here. And, as I'll tell Craig, I'm probably never going to go to all these places, but every once in a while, I take this book out, I take a look at it. It's like a table cocktail book and stuff, So it's really...
It's a great book for winter dreaming.
Yes.
So when we're bound with snow, you pick up this book and you look at the beautiful sun-filled vineyards of Europe and South America and think of going there.
Yes, absolutely. And you can just read these little short summaries. They're well written, entertaining, and you say to yourself, gee, you know, maybe I'm ready to pick out a destination, a wine destination. We're going to go there. And so take a look at it. Lowell is not in it yet, but I tell you, if Craig continues his world domination of the wine market and these cans take off, hopefully we'll have a little place someday in Lowell that we can call our own. A little wine tasting, wine tasting room. Do you think that's out of the realm of possibility for Lowell?
No. I've always thought that Lowell was ripe for getting more into the culinary and wine scene. And, you look at towns like Haverhill and stuff like that that have a series of restaurants down the main street. I would always love to see that in Lowell. And I think the population is changed a little bit. The younger generation is coming in, and they're more attuned to just dropping in for a quick, casual glass of wine and a quick bite to eat. So,
well, I always said the talent, the creativity is here, and you are one of those people who can make that happen, Craig.
Oh, God, I don't need another project. I'll help you with it.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. It's really informative, and it's always a pleasure to see you. Of course, you only lives around the corner anyway, but we love to talk wine. We love to drink wine, yes, and engage our friends, and it's fun.
And please, people, keep it simple. Wine is not complicated. It shouldn't be, shouldn't have to be. So go out and experiment. And these single serving cans are a great way to experiment with lots of different types of wine.
Well, that's it for today. I want you to know that my new column will be coming out. I'll be making some recommendations for the holiday season. Take a look at it. I'll also have an expanded column on some of the gifts you might consider for the holiday season for your loved ones or that wine drinker in your life. So this is Jim Campanini signing off with Craig Gandolf. May the wine be with you.
A salute.
Salud. Oh, wait,